Please don't tell my Mr. Happy Heart that the night there move is mud to mud.
Got the tribe out here that's living a lie. Stack these racks on the daily just to survive. It's a battle out here trying to get it right. 'Cause the tribe's out here just catching the vibe.
No, these bills ain't gonna pay themselves, so I hustle and I grind all time. Burn like moonshine, there's a boils up your spine. It's a full-time job trying to keep my mind.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fox Around Podcast. I'm your host, Raymond Fox.
I'm your co-host, River Thomas.
Hey, we got an episode here for you, ladies and gentlemen. This is our first ever time doing this, man. We're live. Look at this place, man. Take a look around real quick, bro. This is crazy. Welcome to the Decolonial headquarters, man. What's going on? We got our man, Dakota. Say what's up, bro.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, man, we are so excited to do this. Thank you, first of all, for opening up your space to us, bro. It's much love to see this and see it all come to life, man. It's been a crazy ride for you, man. So you started popping this off in May 2020, bro. Just what, a year and a half ago? How did it start?
Yeah, honestly, man, like we had to really rethink what we were doing because of COVID, right? So we were performing, we were doing a lot of workshops, a lot of community work too, and a lot of that just kind of like disappeared overnight. Actually, I was heading to Saskatoon to Treaty 6 because I had some Juno after party shows I was going to perform at.
Yeah.
So it was crazy, and then we were heading there, and then as we were traveling to Saskatoon, things like were changing like really quickly, and then by the time we were like literally outside of Saskatoon, they canceled the Junos, and I was like, oh shit. So I don't know. I was like, okay, this is real, right? And we got to figure out what we're gonna do if we're not gonna travel and perform. And we've been doing the clothing since 2015. We've been just selling from Facebook, Snapchat, learning online courses, pretty much getting information wherever we could. It was more of a side hustle, but we had to turn that to our main hustle because we were confident that e-commerce was still going to pop, and we just went all in on it. So here we are.
Here we are, man. Damn. So shit, like 16 months and this is what you do, bro. You feel like pretty accomplished when you're thinking about this kind of thing, or like only the beginning on the work?
Yeah, no doubt, man. I do. It's just hard to like take the time though. It's a hustle. It's just like nonstop. I got 2 kids as well, right? And like the whole family life and everything. So it's just like from like 6 in the morning to late at night. It's just like go. And yeah, sometimes it's dope just to kind of like sit back when we're making like our TikToks and stuff like that, creating like little pieces of content, kind of showing people what's up, and then just look at it from a different perspective. It's crazy, man. Yeah, it's definitely been a journey, bro, and I'm just feeling blessed that we're here.
Hell yeah, bro. We're gonna Nardwar you here real quick, bro. You watch a little bit of Nardwar. I know you're a rapper, bro. All right, finish this sentence for me, bro. You can't have swag unless you throw a little cash on it.
I don't even remember.
Bro, you didn't remember that?
No, I don't remember the rest of the lyrics.
Damn, bro. Kicks stay fly and my hat got a snap on it, bro.
That was dope. I shot that for Kicks and Fists, man. The homie, I was always copping gear up, and he like be pulling up, and I'd do like back in the day when I was like partying, doing shows, whatever. And then I have like a show the same night. Oh, like, I need a couple of t-shirts for the show and stuff. He would like pull up rates a lot, and then we were just putting some work in, man. I wanted to do that little commercial, and shit, that was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, bro.
I was like 19.
I know, man. We remember those days, bro. You remember the old school, man. The 306 Battlegrounds, the Stay Fly crew, man. That was like we grew up on that, man. That was our
youth. Man, that feels like another time, man. That was like shit. Battlegrounds, it's crazy, man. That was sumo skills. So
hey, for real.
No, for real. I remember that too. I was a teenager. I remember skipping school at lunchtime, heading to Saskatoon with my homies just to go watch some 306 Battlegrounds live in Saskatoon. Bro, I was like grade 9, grade 10.
That was lit, man.
Yeah, I remember it was like Decoy. There was a lot of you guys there, and there was some really, really good. It was dope, man. That was like the prime era of battle rap, and like I think you can see it too now. It's like it ain't really like that anymore. Like especially with like King of the Dot, that ain't as big as it used to be. But like around the time of 306 Battlegrounds was popping off. That was a time when King of the Dot was really popping off.
Yeah, I could see that too, man. And like Primo put so much work behind the scenes to actually make those events happen. And even though a lot of time like it was free and some of it were in like there would be like little venues that we're doing them in. There's a lot of organizing anything, man, is crazy. But I'm grateful that he pulled that thing together, man. And I wasn't even considering myself as like a battle rapper. I even battled my own brother. I don't know if you guys watched that.
Yeah, bro. Come on,
I was the one who got him into battle rap. Yeah, it was hilarious. And then my bro Elder, I got both of them into battle rap. I was like, you fuckers are gonna. So we ended up like battling and getting into that for a while. And yeah, really, man, it's just another way to like get my own music out there too. I was like super nervous. I didn't really want to do it because I didn't really like know how to do it. And just like really stepping out of my comfort zone. And then the first battle that I was supposed to do, Shaw came. They never even showed up.
You had to rap to the camera. I remember that.
And then I was like, bro, I prepared too long just to let these bars not go off. So and I was like, all right, man, turn the camera on. It's kind of like the start of it. That got me up too, right?
I remember watching that battle with your brother too, bro. And like the first one, you were just like clowning him, bro. Like you were just like, you know, you had all the disses because he's your brother. You know what I mean? Like you know his dirty laundry. And then the second one, bro, you're like hitting him with some like some cold hard like I love you type bars. And that was crazy to watch that and see two brothers going on, and you're like I can't remember the bar exactly, but basically you're like I'm looking in the mirror and I see myself, you know what I mean? Because like you said, you got him into the battle rap game. So that to me, like watching that, I was like, man, that's like you don't see that from anybody in Saskatchewan, like especially you know in the battle rap scene at the time, bro. There was guys that were goofing off, you know, like no one's coming prepared, and then there's you, bro, like just setting it off, you know what I mean? Doing it like how King of the Dot was looking, you know, and it was respect, bro. I was like, damn, man, to roast your own brother, that
was dope. Yeah. That was hard, and he actually won that one too, man. But I was like proud for me too, right? Because I was like, all right, you better fucking win the whole thing then, right?
Yeah, no, I remember that, and it's funny now because like with cancel culture and shit, like none of those bars would fly. Battle that shit would fly anymore, but like that was some like funny shit growing up. Man, who was one of your favorite battle rappers in 306 scene?
In the 306?
In the 306 scene, this battle rapper. I got mine.
Yeah, I got mine too, and it's the same difference. Alright, bro, it's Casper, bro. Yeah, Bilderberg, bro. I remember they had it down at the river landing, bro, and it was a 2v2 battle, and Casper brought some dude that was just trash, bro. Like that dude could not rap, but he was dissing Primo and KP, and like there was just some they were dissing him about like, cause that's when like Drake was just popping off. They were calling him a biter, like the rhymes that he hit in that.
I was supposed to battle him, bro, and we ducked out. The Cosmo Center when we were hosting the battles there. Yeah. And then I pulled up and we were supposed to battle, and then he ducked out. So then the next person I battled was this homie Kitchen or whatever. And then so I battled him and I won with the
Damn. Casper, if you're out there, bro, why you ducking my man? Nah, I'm just kidding.
We both know.
Yeah, we both know doing that weekly acapella shit. Yeah. Oh shit, that's too funny, man. So yeah, that's just like a little almost fanboying because we knew you. You know what I mean? We didn't know who you were, but we watched you growing up. Yeah, 306. Yeah, Stay Live, bro. So break it down a little bit, man. Go back a little further, bro, because you know. You come from the same kind of streets we do, bro. You're from Saskatoon originally, bro. Where do you come from, bro? What was your upbringing like when you were, coming through those days in Saskatoon?
Shit, bro. Like, just grew up in poverty, man. Like, I grew up in a home with like a lot of young Indigenous people grow up, man. Just like a lot of alcohol, a lot of domestic violence, a lot of that shit. And like when I was born in St. Paul's Hospital. And I was born with like a hole in my heart and shit, right? Yeah. So it's like even then it was just like a struggle for like even when I was like born to be here. And then like my dad, he dipped out, so it's just like my mom, and she was just going through a lot of shit. But residential schools fucking rocked our family lines, man. It was a small like clip in our history, but it had such a big impact. Like my grandma ran away from residential school 16. My great grandma, like all of her brothers and stuff were in it. So we only ended up in Saskatoon because my grandma ran away from LeBret when she was 16 and ended up in Saskatoon, and she found a spot to stay, and that's where she had her kids. So I grew up on the west side, and my mom got us out of there. We went to the east side, and we just bounced around, man. It's like surviving, bro. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what a lot of young indigenous kids are doing right now. You don't think about colonialism, and you don't think about oppression. You don't think about all the shit that's holding you back and forcing you down. You see, like, a lot of people are breaking through barriers, and a lot of people are kind of like getting ahead. And it's like, as a young indigenous kid, bouncing around from different schools. A lot of them like predominantly white people, like white kids and shit like that. And it's like you don't realize that, like, just being indigenous, man, you got so much barriers, so much obstacles that you got to face. You don't even realize it. You're just trying to push through them. But I put alcohol and drugs, and like I started healing. On my healing journey, it's gonna be 4 years. And thank you, bro. Once I did that, I started to learn about the Indian Act, started learning about the residential schools, started learning about all this shit. And I was like, man, this is fucked up, And for the longest time, and I feel like that's how it is for a lot of young people, is they're walking around with a lot of hate in their heart, bro. And it's hard because, like, it's hard to be on the res and it's hard to be in the city. You know what I mean? And it's like the lack of opportunity that's on the reserves, right? And then the amount of gang violence and things that are in the city, and just the fact that it's like these are colonial institutions that we're walking into, whether that be a hospital or whether it be an education center, bro. So, I grew up just like, low self-confidence, man. I didn't feel good about myself. I felt like, just like everywhere I went, just people looking down on me. My teachers looking down on me, didn't really understand my struggle going to high school. Not even making it past grade 9, not even making past these courses, because like I go home and my life is fucked up. It's chaotic, bro, and I'm supposed to go here. And what are you guys going to teach me that's going to help me out there? Right. So for me, I'm just writing music. That's all I did was write rhymes. That's how I met King Eggs, bro. Like, because we went to Montana, and then I was following sacred scripts for a real long time. When I first started, I got like a little microphone when I was 16. It was just like something that plugged into the computer. I didn't know how to count a bar. I didn't know nothing about music. I knew how to write. And then I ran into King Eggs. It was like a woodshop class, and I was like following sacred scripts, like Decoy too. And I was looking up to him because he's another young indigenous cat that came from the struggle of poverty, all of that. And plus, we're from the same city,
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, bro. He's like, I'm in sacred scripts. And I was like, no, you're not, man. Like, I watched all their videos. I've never seen, videos. He's like, no, man, this is what I did like last week. Yeah. I was like, no, man, you did it. He's like, well, I'll take you to the studio. And I was like, oh, shit. And then like he took me to the studio, man. Like, I'm at Decoy, Primo, and I was just like, the younger me was just like, oh, fuck, man. Like, look at it, bro. Because these guys are doing all the big shows, like, open up for everybody, all the YouTube videos and shit. So it was dope, man. I have a lot of respect for sacred scripts and all those guys because they see potential in me too. And I was just like another young rapper, man, just trying to put my music out there, making my own little videos. Like my older brother, who was like 8 years old, I get like one of those little flip cameras, and I'm like, yeah, stand right there and record me. And I'm like in my laundry room, bro, like I record a music video and shit, and then like edit it, like cracking like Cool Edit Pro and all that. So yeah. I never really gave up, man, but it's hard because, like, being an indigenous rapper, being a white rapper is, like, two different things, bro. Because, like, if you look at it, like, a lot of them, they have access to the grants, have access to so much more. And on top of that, colonialism isn't fucking crushing them. You know what I mean? So it's different, but it means so much more when one of our people succeed. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we stand behind that because we know how fucking hard they work to get where they're at. And put on for our people, and just being indigenous, man, I see so many people, it's reciprocity, just giving back, like myself, having this business that's become successful and constantly mentoring other people. I mentored probably like over 100 youth, bro, to help them start their own business. I don't hold back on nothing. Yeah. All the shit that I learned from YouTube, marketing, I run Facebook ads, all of that, bro. Everything that I learned, I'll hop on calls, whatever. My homies are trying to start businesses, and I'll just give them for free. Because when I was first starting, I was asking people, and they would hit me with like a big fee, or they hit me with like
right, yeah.
And I was like, it is, man, it is what it is, because everybody's got to eat and everything. But at the same time, like I want to see young people succeed. I want to see young indigenous people succeed. And when they do, like we all do, right? So it is, man. But yeah, I come from Tree 6, man, fucking hard as a hood. Back once they fly.
Bro, let's break that down a little bit more, man, because I feel like in a lot of places, man, it is like that. Like, your homies are trying to make bags off you, or your homies are trying, and you're in a position now where you're mentoring those other people and you're helping. You know what I mean? What do you think when you see, like, you know, you get hit with those big fees, or like there's people out there that are just eating for themselves, or like not really giving that? Because this is why I respect, and I told you this off camera, but this is why I respect what you're doing so much, because it's for something bigger than yourself. If it was just about you, you just be a rapper and just, you know, try to blow up as fast as possible, get a couple face tattoos and call it a day. You know what I mean? So it's like, where do we draw the line on the people that aren't, like, I've always respected people, and you can agree to this too, where like the first person that opens the door, that's who sets the tone for everybody. If you're gonna keep your foot open and let other people through the door, you're closing it on them. Why are they closing it on people, and what do you feel when you got hit with that type of shit?
Colonialism, bro. The Western mindset, man. That's literally ingrained in us. Like, everything is like scarcity of resources, and it's like all about you, and it's like a dog eat dog world. That's what's been ingrained into us, bro, from the Western world. The way that they even view entrepreneurship, or the way that they even view the world and its resources, is fucking capitalism and colonialism, and they had to ingrain that in us through the schools and the way that they do residential schools and just like public schools, so we can continue to have that crabs in the bucket mentality. You know what I mean? When in reality, it's much different, because us as indigenous people, we've been entrepreneurs for hundreds of thousands of years, bro. Like, we've had our own intricate trade networks. Like, we had infrastructure, medium of exchange. Like, the roads that they built right now, if you're riding around Saskatoon, anywhere you're at, those are already roads, bro. Like, they were already trading networks. People already, like, want to stay with. Now it's like a big meeting spot for our people. We met with the Blackfoot. All of these spots were already something, you know what I mean? We already had that. And so we are entrepreneurs, bro. Like, we had different mediums of exchange. Like, I got this, you got that, let's switch. But then it's switched with capitalism, where it's like it just becomes fiat currency, paper, debt, whatever. And now a lot of people are just caught up in that mindset, right? And they just feel that there's not enough. When reality is different, man. It's reciprocity. You always have to give back. Only take what you need. And when we live by those values, you know, when you're living proper, you get blessed, man. You know, and I could feel that. I could feel the blessings all the time. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not thankful and grateful that I know that there's ancestors, you know, helping me, guiding me on this journey, helping me with this, because the clothing isn't clothing to us. It's a message. The eagle, our logo, he's the messenger. The eagle's the messenger, you know, and we feel like clothing is just another way to express that, to reach people, to empower young Indigenous people to see their ancestors wearing them, to see protest signs, to see bold statements like that. So it's like going to a protest and you get that vibe, that rally, you get that vibe of empowerment. People are standing together, and then you leave that, you know. The clothing gives people an opportunity to carry that around to their university, to wherever, walking around the store, the mall, people stop by, and they stop people. And they're like, oh, what does that mean? Like, you know, they have conversations with people, and it opens up, and they have different perspectives that they share. And so we feel like we're building more of like a community, of a movement, and we're just using that, like using music as a tool.
Yeah. So, you talk about colonialism a lot, and like I agree. So, how did the brand come to be? How did decolonial clothing come to be? What was the vision? What was the goal? And how have you stayed true to those visions, those goals?
Yeah.
Because like obviously, bro, something's working. Look at us, we're in a warehouse. Like we had a talk off camera. You're telling me about like how you started this shit in a garage, right? Like I remember you, like we're friends on Facebook. I remember reading your status like a couple months ago saying like how like you guys like invested all you had into this, and like look at where it is now. You know what I mean? Like you guys are doing big fucking things. So it's just like, yeah, like just talk me through the naming of it and like the whole process, the vision, all of it.
For sure, man. It's a good question, and I feel like the clothing, just like my music and just like me, is constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was 30604 apparel before, and we started the clothing with that same, we want to empower young Indigenous kids. We want to create social visibility for us, right? To make ourselves known, because like when do you ever see, you know, now it's changing, yeah, but like 10 years ago, bro, how much Indigenous people would you see on the TV or on Much Music or wherever in the fashion industry? All of these spaces, we weren't even there. We're kicking the fucking door down now and breaking into those spaces and taking over.
Yeah.
you know. And 30604 Apparel, we had that mission, and we just wanted to continue to do that. But just like us, we are constantly evolving. And back then, I didn't learn about the Indian Act. I was still in like survival. I was still caught up in addictions and shit, bro. I was still in that. I wanted to change, you know, me and Casey wanted to change because we had a daughter, like, and she was coming like really fast. And we wanted to create something. So both of us are creative people. You know, I learned business and I went to school for music business management, you know, just to help manage my own music career when I was out here. Because I moved to Vancouver, I was only 19, I had like a little suitcase, and you know, like you can get band funding to go to school, right? So it was like either get a job or see if I go to school. So I took that route. And so that was just representing like the 306 where we come from and 604 where we're at. But as we started this healing journey, we started getting more socially, like consciously aware of shit that was going on for Indigenous people. Casey had that knowledge because she went to university and she brought it back and she was talking about this and showing me, talking about the pass and permit system, 1950. Like natives couldn't even leave the res without the pass, man. That shit wasn't even a law. That was just a policy, but they enforced it through starving us. You know what I mean? And that shit, it sparks something in you, man. Like when you hear that, and then you know that like your cooking went through that, like your mushroom, like your cut, like when you know that you feel the need to take action, bro. You know what I mean? And so we started doing rallies. Like we started getting more into that, wanting to do more organizing. And some people know this, but like my great mushroom was Mr. Muscular, right? So like Chief Big Bear. When I was setting up rallies, I got in contact with Sylvia because Sylvia and I Don't Know More and Defenders of the Land Network were all working together on this big resistance campaign. And when me and her started talking, she was like, "You're a direct descendant of Chief Big Bear." She broke down how I am, and from my mushroom Robert, who's like my grandma's husband, to his uncle who's Grizzly Bear, to his uncle who's Big Bear. So it's like 150 plus years ago. It's not even long ago that he was on this earth, man. Like last one to sign treaty, led his people, and was like, since his very last breath, resisting colonialism, trying to stay the way that we were, right? Free. Learning all this shit, man, it hits you different. That's why the Canadian government, the Canadian state, continuously suppresses that knowledge to young Indigenous kids. It's like, oh shit, I'm related to this person. We all have powerful bloodlines that we come from, medicine men, chiefs, healers, all of that. And a lot of us, we didn't have access to that knowledge, man. Like some people have connection to elders, some people don't, like myself. Like I live in the city, grew up like in the concrete jungle, bro, so I didn't have that. So as we started to learn these things, you know, as we started to get into these rallies and I started to find more connection to my roots, it just became more and more apparent like what my mission was, right? I started to feel more of what like music wasn't just music to me no more. I seen it as like a tool to continue to push the message. And same with the clothing. We started to see that like the bigger picture of it. We started out like empower kids, empower Indigenous youth, increase, but now it's like, okay, this is just one piece, something that's much bigger. And so we were just like brainstorming one day, like we wanted to rebrand it because we just didn't feel like it represented 30604 represented who we were anymore. And so me and Katie literally we just like sat around and we're just thinking like bouncing names off, and then she was like, what about decolonial clothing code? And I was like, oh shit, that rhymes too. I was like, the bars. I was like, you sold me, baby. So let's get the website rolling, let's do it. Like literally, bro, like 4 days after that, our website was live. Just like bought a course for like $3 online on how to like build a good website on Shopify and how to like market products and find like print on demand or whatever. And then it took us like 4 days of grinding on that, and then we're just like, boom, we didn't look back.
Yeah, bro. So how did the journey of that first idea to printing out the garage to ending up here, how did that go?
Crazy, man. It's like the months just fly by because at the beginning of 2020, we had a house that was out in Poco. Like in 2020, we were still living in like social housing, like low income native housing in the beginning of 2020. Like we were still like packing orders in this small 2-bedroom apartment that we were living in downtown Van. And we wanted to get out of there because it was kind of like rough shit, right? And
Yeah.
we had a baby boy on the way and everything too. Like, so from there, that's where we launched Deep Colonial Clothing. It was literally like 3 weeks, like, because the shit started to pop, and we're like, fuck it, let's try to find a place. Let's try to find a house. Like, let's have a backyard. Like, because we were like, at that point, our website was reaching its first like 10,000, and it's only been like a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Our design popped, right? It was the champion logo, but it was remix. It said decolonize on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it in the front in gray, and that was it. And we knew that was gonna pop because natives are just drawn to champion, right? It's just they have that brand and shit.
Yeah, no, I mean that's because we couldn't. That's because Champion was at Walmart in the 90s, right? You know what I mean? So like everybody was wearing Champion back then. That shit was like $10.
Man.
Yeah.
And I was like, our first design, like, we had hella designs, like lots.
Mm-hmm.
But we're like, the first one, let's drop our website with one design, because that's the thing is like, and this is what holds people back, is that like, they wait for the right moment, or they'll wait till everything is ready, everything's prepped, and they're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna start with like 10 designs, 5 designs, whatever it is. But for us, it's like we got our website functioning, and we knew that our order could go through. We did a sample, and then we put one product up. And so then we pushed that one product to see if the shit was actually gonna work or not. And it did, and it didn't take that long to like figure out our design. We had these other drops that were lined up that were just gonna keep dropping after that, right? So it kept adding to our catalog. And in this day and age, it doesn't take a lot to get into business anymore. Like the entry to business is lower, especially in like the clothing industry. You have things like print on demand. And for young people listening, trying to get into clothing, if you don't have a lot of money and you want to try out some different designs, find a print on demand. Like we use T-Hatch, and a lot of people are asking why, like who do you use and why do you use them? There's lots of like Printify, there's tons of them. We use T-Hatch because they're based out of Vancouver, and we pulled up to the warehouse and met them. Like, okay, there's actual people, good at customer service, etc. So we stuck with them for a little while. There's pros and cons to it, but one of the big pros is that we only started with $500. Like we didn't have a whole lot of money to start with.
Mm-hmm.
We used that $500 towards like marketing and stuff, Facebook ads and whatnot. And so the things are changing, man. Online, like there's all sorts of side hustles and different hustles that you could do if you like are really about it and want to get something profit for yourself, and you're kind of just like sick of like working like the 9 to 5 like grind. And for me, I was doing that for a really long time. Like before the clothing, like in 2008, I was still working for people. Like I was doing like little workshops, and I was still performing and stuff. But music, it wasn't making me no money. Like I was still setting up like tennis bubbles downtown Vancouver. I was still like delivering pizzas. I was still doing whatever, right? Because I was just paying the bills and I had a family. But I was still working. All the other free time I had, I was working on my music. I was working on other shit that could make me money on the side. It wasn't until like the end of 2019, going into 2020, that I was actually just working for myself like, full time. Like quit my job, my workplace was hella toxic. It's like people was like loud, everything, man. So like literally got up, I was like, I fucking quit, man. Like I don't need this. I'm old. Like this is whack. Here's your keys. I got a backup plan. Like I walked out the door, and then I was like, I just started, really focusing on doing like crafting my workshops to pitch, crafting my own shows to pitch. It's all about like pitching yourself, man. Honestly, like people realize like a lot of times now like these artists are like when you're coming up are getting a lot of shows just out of nowhere. Like you have people constantly pitching your shit all the time, right? And, like even if it's just yourself. So that's what I did. I crafted up pitches and we pitched them all the time, and we'd land like workshops, speaking engagements, just speaking on shit that I knew, like being in Saskatoon for once, it's like high gang violence, bro. So much gang violence. I lost a lot of people to it. And trying to empower other young people to stay away from gang violence and to move towards their culture, because like for us, being ripped away from our culture, we get drawn to other things like pop culture, being addicted to watching these things like Kardashians and all these things that are like this life that people are craving. They're gravitating towards that. Or gang culture, even worse, they're gravitating towards that because that's belonging, that's a sense of like brotherhood. You know what I mean?
A false sense of brotherhood.
Yeah, it's a false sense of brotherhood, and it's crazy because like, what a sweat lodge could do to a young person if they had access to it, or like a couple hours with the elder, getting access to medicines. Like those are the things that I feel the young people are really needing, and sometimes it's hard to make those connections when you are an elder. come back to when you have young people like I dress like them, you know, I live similar life than them, and this is what helped me on my journey. Then I hope that empowers and inspires them to start to gravitate towards our culture, because that's how I got sober. That's how I left drugs and alcohol. That was just like wreaking havoc on my life. Was the sweat lodge, bro. Getting my spirit name, Blue Thunder. My sense of identity, where I'm from, you know, that's what empowered me and lit that flame inside of me. And I just want to continue to encourage other young people to move in that way too, you know.
Yeah, man. That's important too to speak on those types of things, man, because I mean, we all have a story of people that we knew, you know what I mean, that were more talented than us, that had more, you know, like that are from the reserves, from the urban centers, you know, athletes, they're rappers, you know, they're talented at art, there's so many things, but those systems that you're speaking about just continue bring them down, man. So it's important to highlight that, and important to let them know that, you know, there is another path, man, and it is in our old ways, you know, to heal in those ways, man. I just gotta say too, I'm proud of you to speak on that, because not like me personally, you know, I also, you know, I struggled with addictions. You know, I was really bad with drugs and alcohol for a long time. And it took me a long time to kind of step out of that and start something new for myself. And it's important that people like us are speaking on that and saying, man, like, you don't got to be fucking in the streets anymore. You don't got to be drinking anymore. You don't got to be trying to go to the newest party or wear the newest gear. Like, man, there's other avenues to explore here. And I think that in having those conversations, it's always dope, man. I gotta give him some love too, because he's on the other hand, you know, like this guy's always been the kind of good angel on everyone's shoulder, you know. He grew up, and he saw what we all saw, and he decided a different path for himself, you know, and he never let that phase, man. And that's huge to not have to, you know, resort to those types of things, and to stay strong and be that role model for other people in a different way, you know. I know some motherfuckers that are like, damn, River never drank, you know? Like, fuck, yeah, that's crazy.
Man. That's healthy, bro.
No, I'm 26.
Yeah, they never drank before.
Never touched it, bro.
That's good, man. Honestly, we need more, like, young people like yourself, you know, for people to, like, see that it's possible. Some people don't think it's possible.
Yeah, bro, people don't think it's possible.
Know? And it is, man. So respect to both of you. You know, it's the journey, man. And things are changing, bro. Honestly, it's like, and it's because we're making that change. Like, we're literally breaking cycles. I don't want my kids to grow up the way that I grew up, with just uncertainty, like worrying about rent and shit, worrying about fucking food and like things that you shouldn't be worrying about as a kid, you know. And I feel like a lot of young people don't realize why they're drinking, man, like why they're doing drugs, and they don't realize like they have PTSD, man, from the shit that they've been through. They have their anxieties that they're going through, and depression, everything that's super real and valid, that's really weighing on them, and that why they steer towards drugs and alcohol is because of what they've been through. And you know what? You don't even have to have been through that. You don't have to like have been to residential school to feel the effects. That's what's called intergenerational trauma, and I speak on that to a lot of young indigenous kids, because they don't even know that it affects them. Like, oh, well, my grandma went to residential school, but not me. Yeah. But they don't see how that affects them in their life. And for us, just picking up the pieces, and you know, it's tough because some of the moms and dads are still caught up in it, and they're still like feeling those wounds, and they're still, you know, not able to heal from that. And so like a lot of young kids don't really have that connection with their parents. But you know, if that's you, I'm super proud of you for keeping your head up and moving forward and pushing forward, because you know you're here for a reason. A lot of young people in hard times in the winter time struggle with that depression, you know, but we're here, man. We ain't going nowhere. Like, we're breaking into all these spaces, you know. We're doing it. We're not knocking on doors no more. We're fucking kicking them down. And we're here, and I feel really empowered, man. That's why I do this shit, bro.
Oh yeah. And you like, I can kind of notice too, like we kind of told you earlier, we grew up on your music, you know what I mean, bro? And it was just that you know, I respect all those guys, and we'll get into that a little bit later about, you know, Saskatchewan hip hop and where it came from, you know, and where it kind of rooted in. But you can kind of say, you know, like you were chasing out, you know, the state flag, you know, like that wasn't straight up gang rap, but it, you know, it had the subcultures and everything like that. And then you move towards like basically like, and I don't even like, maybe you can kind of talk to us a little bit, you know, was it always the goal to kind of just be like now you're not just spitting bars, you're talking about real shit that happens, you know what I mean? Like things that you're seeing in your life, or like things that you're not okay with. You know what I mean? Now it's not, you know, partying and bitches and, you know, like all that shit. It's like real indigenous issues. Did you set out to start rapping like that, or was it like influence from the clothing line, or just like where you're at in your life? Like, how'd you get from being just, you know, another rapper to speaking on it for all of us?
No doubt, man. That's a good question. I actually never, like, when I was younger, I never thought that I wasn't even into like hip hop. I wasn't even into music, man. I was just writing shit. Like, I was writing like short stories. It was really just a way to escape like reality, man. Like writing like little like poems and short stories and just writing shit, you know. And then I watched 8 Mile, and then I was like, oh shit, okay, like, you know, I related to a lot of that, living in poverty, kind of being like outcast type of shit, not having the greatest relationship with your mom for several different reasons and stuff, and not having to adapt all of that shit. And I was like, then I listened to the soundtrack, and even though I didn't listen to a lot of music, it was just something about like the kicks and the drums in the beat that really drew me to it. And I was like, damn, like this is what I want to do. I want to be able to like tell my story, and I want to be able to do it for like the kids that are like me, like young indigenous kids, you know. And at that, like when I first started releasing, like, cause like you probably heard of Winter of a Heart Dead.
Yeah.
Dry Your Eyes. Yeah, that was the music that was like really heartfelt to me. Like I was expressing my feelings, man, the way that I grew up.
Yeah.
And really it was it's like therapeutic, bro. Yeah. And I encourage all the time for young people just to write it down, man. Don't ball it up, because that's toxic. Like that's what causes like that build up, you know what I mean? And so just to be able to let it out, if you can't talk to somebody, man, write these things down. And I always encourage young people to write. But from there, it's just like, you know, like phases of life, man. So it's like from there, starting music, expressing my story. But then like a lot of my friends that I grew up with turned to big drug dealers and gangbangers too, man. They were like serious about it as well, right? And these are like my brothers or whatever. These are the people that I was like riding with in like grade 6. You know, when I first started to like fight back, start swinging on people, whatever. They're like, oh, this kid could be down, or this kid's cool, or whatever. And they just got really deep into it, man. I didn't have a lot of like good influence. Like my mom was still, she worked so hard, bro. And like aside from her work, she was just like coping in a negative way with drugs and alcohol. And my dad was never around, you know what I mean? And like my uncle Curtis, who passed away, he was in and out of my life. Like he would pop in and be like, don't join a fucking gang. You know, this is how to defend yourself. You know, he would give like really good advice, but then he would be gone. You know, and I didn't have like a really, really solid relationship with my Uncle Patrick, because it was just like his uncles used to beat on him and shit. They used to like whatever. So that was like his relationship with me was just like always like on edge and shit. Until we trauma bonded over like my mom went to the Vegas to marry her husband, like so my stepdad. And we went through a wicked party, and I trauma bonded with my Uncle Patrick over that party. But my Uncle Curtis would like, and those are just like my main role models, my Uncle Curtis, my Uncle Patrick, you know, and my mom. And like, you know, there was, I just feel like it was in and out of my life, though. So it was really hard growing up, bro, to like try, you know, navigate this life like that. And not really having that. And then these guys being so deep into that shit. I never joined a gang because of my uncle coming in and saying, don't fucking join a gang, I'll go beat your ass. He was really respected, right? And he wasn't in the gang, but he knew how to fight since he was 14. And he did things out of respect for people. He protected people. He was there. He was a real one, bro, like the realest. And people really like gravitated towards him, you know? And so I had those people in my life, but you know, having that and then getting knee deep into the shit, bro, getting knee deep into drug dealing. Like I'm just sick of living in poverty and all that. My mom's like kicking me out all the time, and then it's just like, boom, started dealing drugs and started getting good at it. That's like the first little shady business I was involved in, right? And then like along with that comes the whole lifestyle, bro. You start doing the drugs, and then you start surrounding yourself with all this like negative vibes and energy and people that don't really give a fuck about you. Like those aren't actually your brothers. Like they'll just, at any chance, man, it was just always like some shady shit was going on. And I knew that. And when I was at 19, before I moved to Vancouver, I was super deep in it, bro. Like I was like either going to jail or going to die, like overdose on drugs, or someone was going to come to my house and stab me up. Because that's how we were living. Like people would be pulling up and you're like looking like, what the fuck is that? And I knew that's what my life hadn't been set up to be, bro. That's why I made like Famous fame encompassing like my dreams, right? And then destruction encompassing all this dark reality that I'm like mixed up in. And so at 19, I had the opportunity to come out here for a couple of weeks to stay on somebody's couch for a little bit. And I so packed my suitcase, bro. I took off, never came back. I found another homie that let me rent the basement suite, and I did anything that I could, right? And so like my music back then, what you're talking about, stay fly, drugs, alcohol, girls, and whatever, that's just a reflection of where I was at and how I was living my life at that time. But I didn't want to, man. Like and it all came to like a head where everything started to fall apart, like, you know, and it just goes to show when you're not living your true purpose on this life, bro. Life will show you. Things will fall apart. Things are not going to work out, you know, and that's for a reason, bro. You know, and so I had to change my life around, man. And like a big part of that actually was my girlfriend, who's my fiance now, like Casey, coming into my life because she was like, because she was the only real one there, you know, and it was too clouded for me to see, you know, and she was always there, bro, you know, and she was at a spot in her life too where she was like drinking, partying and stuff like that, and so was I, but we also knew that we wanted more and all that. So I came back to Saskatoon in like 2014, and then we connected more and we started dating again and everything, because I knew her from like, you know, like a few years before that. And then she moved to Vancouver, and 5 months of her moving to Vancouver, she got pregnant with her daughter, Aubrey. So that's when like everything for me really had to like stop.
Bro. Speaking of your music, because like we've been on friendly Facebook for a long time. I remember seeing those your statuses with Ralph the Viking when you very first moved out here for your music, bro. How was that shit?
That was trippy, man. That was actually, it was random because as soon as I got here, I was pulling up to different like radio stations and stuff, because even back in the day when I was like released like Almost There and all those mixtapes, I'd always have them, and I would be at like Nutana hustling them, giving them away, meeting people at the mall. Like I'd always be pushing and pressing my I convinced my one teacher to give me a credit for like life skills or job or extra or whatever, to let me do my mixtape. So the music mixtape, bro, they let me press that shit and get a credit for it, and they even bought me the CDs. I just had to like press them, and I did that at school, and then I hustled them like out of my backpack at school. And that's how it always was. I was always just trying to like put myself out there. That's why I got into battle rap, and when I got here, it was the same thing. I found myself like, like these little independent radio stations trying to like, yo, here's a little bit of my music. I show up outside of like clubs and parties and freestyle. I don't know if you guys heard of like Danny and Lizzie. They're like pretty big singers. Yeah, they're out here. I was even like, they were outside, and there was this guy like rap battling them, and they were like pretty exhausted and stuff. So I hopped in there and I started like battling and like that dude and shit. And it was hilarious, man. And then I connected with them too, and then I got connected to more people. So like doing random shit like that. And so basically I was at a party one night, and I was just freestyling, I was going hard, all drunk, whatever. And then all of a sudden buddy was like, yo man, and he was pretty buggered up too. And he was like, that's like best freestyle I ever heard my whole life now. Better than me, bro. And then I was like, all right. He was going crazy, and then he was like, I grew up with Ralph the Viking, bro. I'm gonna get in the studio. And I heard growing up and like I heard so much shit, like so much people just talking all sorts of shit, and like roll my eyes, like yeah. This guy pulls up the next day to my house. It's like before noon, and I'm like still in my ditch, bro. I answer the door, and I'm like, who is this? He's like, yo, you ready to hit the studio, bro? Rob the Viking? I was like, what? I was like, for real? And I was like, shit, I guess, man. So then I go like shower up, whatever, and then I put some songs on. He was being this guy takes me to Rob the Viking studio, man. I actually like pulled up there, and he was like working on that song with Ness, and they were like, this is when he just first started music, and he didn't really. I was kind of like in the background because he was going so hard, he didn't really notice me at first. And then after the session was done, he was just like gonna like talk with me a little bit. He's like, oh, let's check out your song. So then I put it, and he was playing them, and he was like really like fucking with it, man. His head was like, and I was like, oh shit. So I knew that it was like dope. Yeah. But what was really dope is that he was like, you should come back tomorrow. And he didn't really say anything other than that. He's like, yeah, just come through tomorrow. I was like, shit, all right. So we went back the next day, and he started making a beat, and I didn't know he was making a beat for it. But he's like, you wanna like rap some bars or whatever for a beat? And I was like, fuck yeah. So I wrote some bars, like, you want to record it? So I just randomly made a song from scratch there that day with Rob the Viking. So it's like, you never know, like, by putting yourself out there and just doing things like that, what kind of, like, situation you get yourself into. And it didn't go, like, I recorded different projects with them, but it's like I didn't, like, get signed or anything like that. Like, I've always just wanted to do my own thing. But it just, like, got me to the next level, pretty much, of like, it being a hip-hop artist, having those connections, and being involved so much. And Matt Child came to the studio one time. And then he was at the height of dope stick and everything. Popping. And then Casey was there, pregnant with Aubrey. He's like, oh, congratulations. And he was like in the other room, I'll record my shit, and he kind of like dipped out. And he heard one of my parts, oh, I'll take it, and he dipped out. And so it was like another trippy moment where I was there, and then he was there, and like the height of his shit. So yeah, man, it's crazy how things happen. Put yourself out there, man.
Yeah, bro. I mean, so a couple questions. What happened to that song you first started to drop the bike? Where can we hear that shit?
We got SoundCloud or?
Yeah, no, I put it on I think it was a mixtape, and I had a mixtape, this whole mixtape I made. Remember, like, Chad and Mixtape Flower, whatever, like, we did a whole, we were doing all these songs together and stuff, and we just ended up not being friends, and then so I really just, like, never promoted all the music that we made. That was a part of a mixtape that I uploaded to, like, Audio Mac, and that Tiff, actually. So it's called First Flight, and it's like me and him on all the songs. But then I was like, oh, fuck that guy. I'm not gonna promote this shit if we ain't gonna be homies, man. I'm just gonna move on, right? And I never connected with Rob until later on when I recorded my other EP. So I didn't really have another song with Rob as a producer, like, actually.
Yeah, no. Okay, so second question. Homie there who hooked you up with Rob and Mike, you'd like, is there still friendship there? Did he ever like thank you for that shit? Or did he just do something then just like peace out, gone like the wind?
No, but we became really good friends, man. Like, and when a lot of like people that were out here kind of like headed back home when like shit just wasn't working out, I was always just kicking it with him and like, you know, showing the sun and everything. But it's just life, though. Like, he had a business, he was investing in condos, and like he had this whole other busy ass life that we just ended up like not really talking for a while. But I ended up like hitting him up not that long ago, and you know, I was trying to connect and link and shit like that. Hey, fuck yeah, bro.
That's fucking dope.
Hell yeah.
Fucking deep colonial sweater with every.
Hell yeah. That'd be a fucking. Hell yeah. You could get some shit, bro. So let's break it down to this new age shit, bro. I know, man. That Jesus and fucking Dakota Bear, bro. That's the fucking anthem, bro. I love me some commas, but I love my community, bro. Come on, hell yeah, bro. Turning my L's into lessons. I'm from the trenches, man. Yeah. I was like, that's still Saskatoon bars, but that's speaking on a whole new level, man. And then it took off. Like, you guys fucking did some merch with it, and then y'all ended up, man. Tell us about the circles, man. Like the whole ass thing, bro. Start to finish, bro.
The whole thing was crazy because like. It really did just start with me sending Jesus a beat, and I've been trying to like collab with Jesus for a while because like obviously he's one of the rappers I look up to. He's been crushing it for fucking years. Res Official, bro, like he was one of the first was like Helen Back and all the Res Official crew being on like Much Music, Lonely, all that, right? So I'm just like, I wanted to work with him for a long time, but just never really worked out. You know what I mean? But at the beginning of like this year, my homie sent me a pack of beats. Shout out Ski Mask Dave from 306. And he sent me a pack of beats, and I was like, all right. And then I sent it to Jesus, and then Jesus like, oh, it's like a lot of dope beats, but just pick one. So then I picked that one, right? Yeah. And then he's like, oh shit, this is dope. The next day, bro, he sends me like a phone, kind of like a version, of his verse. And that's the first thing I hear, bro. I love me some comments, but love my community more. And I'm just like, yeah, man, that shit was like, and then like the rest of his verses, I was like, bro, and then so I had to come with something, man, you know what I mean? So when we're going back and forth, we're trying to figure out the hook, and when we're talking about the hook, I was like, bro, we have to make that the hook. Like, I pretty much used his verse as the hook because it was so like we changed things around, but there's so much melodies and there's so much like substance to it and what he was saying. I was like, that's the first thing people have to hear, bro, when they listen to this track. And he's like, fuck yeah. So then we went to Jamie Cruz, shout out Nova Studios, and this guy records like Snap, like Mercules, like Snotty Nose Res Kids, like all the homies, man. So it was really like it was empowering, bro, to step into that studio. And Jesus showed the homie Jesus bringing me into that studio. As all like these big artists, you know, have been doing it there. And so he goes, he records his shit, I record my shit, then he goes back and he's like, bro, I gotta switch some stuff around. I gotta switch some things around. So then he ended up switching his whole verse on the spot, like on the day, the same day we're gonna shoot a music video. He's like, oh shit, hold on. He's like, let me go to the whip real quick. Comes back with a brand new verse, bro. Records it, and we're like on our way to shoot the video, like, cause our time, he lives in like Calgary and shit, right? So at the time we only had like a couple days.
Yeah.
So we used that studio time. He like last minute just went in there, boom, boom, sounds super dope. We got the rough cut, and we started shooting the video. And we already knew, man, like, this is gonna be super dope. It's gonna be something special, man. Especially like Jesus coming off where he is, and like me just being where I'm at, like combining the two forces. Because like real recognize real, bro. And that's how me and him were always connected on like a super authentic level of just like real shit. You know what I mean? We have before music, we've had like these conversations about all decolonial fathers and all this shit, bro. Like, you know, how important it is to do what we're doing for our kids, and using music and stuff, and like moving past that like rap, glamour, like, you know, the fame, all that shit, and to connect to the higher power, man, with it. And so it was just like, it was just instant, like we knew it was gonna be something dope. And I had just finished being one of the lead organizers in Cancel Canada Day, which was like the biggest one, because the first one we launched was in 2020, and it was like hip hop, man. Like we made like, it was like on Twitter like Happy Canada Day, and the second Cancel Canada Day, right? So we were trending on Twitter last year, so we did some big shit with it. This year was different, bro, because of all of the unmarked graves and all of the people that were starting to listen and stuff. Like I knew it was going to be different. So it was massive. Like, you know, we released that song, and then I just went right to work. I had to start organizing, bro, because it was just not Vancouver. It was like fucking like 18 cities, bro, and I was helping a lot of the moving parts. You know what I mean? So doing that and having it have such a big impact, because like literally, like it was like over 100 like cities, towns, whatever, canceled Canada Day celebrations. But like, they hopped on there like, we're not celebrating this shit this year. It was even more than that. People were like calling in, and it was crazy to see that. You know, it was like, it was a thing. Like we canceled the national fucking holidays and say like, we ain't celebrating this shit, and that's whack. And this is the reason why. And people are like, I think it was like a real historic moment, man. And shortly after that, bro, it was circles, because we wanted to organize something that was going to be uplifting and lift up the spirits, you know, because the rallies, bro, there's a lot of hard energy that goes into it, man. It's different. It's empowering, but it hits hard, man. When you're at the end, it's draining, it's exhausting, bro, fighting for this shit. So we wanted to do something, and Casey and I were talking about this with the circles. It has to be uplifting, man. It has to empower, it has to showcase what we're about. Like, it has to have our culture, our community. We have to have the youth, the youth showcase. You know, we have to be able to feed people, like all of that. Think of the kids, their bouncy castles, all that shit. That was also really big too, because it was like a huge ass festival, man. Like, I don't know if you've seen pictures and stuff, but like the whole thing was like gated. They had like the big porta, but all of that, bro, like came together like 3 weeks. Man. Because when we first started saying that we're gonna do it in that park, because Andy Livingstone Park is a soccer field. It's like a multi-million-dollar soccer field that like sometimes white people will go there because it's in like the heart of the city to kick the ball around for like a few hours and shit. And that's it, man. That's all they use it for. But it's like a multi-purpose field because it's astroturf. Right. And no one ever did a concert, no festival, nothing there ever in his story of like that thing being there. And so when we were like, that's what we're gonna do it. The city emailed like almost immediately after we put our thing out. They're like, no, you're not doing it there. You're like, the grass is expensive and it's like blah blah blah. You guys can go to Strathcona, and Strathcona is a dope spot. It's like the heart of the hood, right? It's where all the natives are at. But at the same time, it's like we're always get pushed to Strathcona, man. You gotta go to Strathcona all the time, bro. And it's just like, no, I was like, nah, man, we ain't going to Strathcona. Like, fuck that. And honestly, it was really stressful because you have to like permits and all this other shit. How are we gonna get the equipment? Like, this is a big stage, bro. This is a big ass video wall and everything that we have to pull this off. And I was thinking like we're gonna have to like pull the equipment over this fence, like this land back shit, bro. Like straight up, like 100% land back, bro. Like, fuck it, we don't need it. I'm not asking. Yeah, I told them. Like, I wasn't asking you guys to use the park though. So I'm like, I don't know, like in emails, I'm ignoring them, I'm not answering them. And eventually they were just like really digging it into us and like, you're not good, whatever. And so I had a homie that reached to like the general manager that manages all that shit. Yeah. And apparently he'd been to some of the rallies that we organized and listened to my music and shit. And he was like, Big Green Party, whatever. And he was like, just let him use the park. It's a big deal. Give him the perk. Like, bro, like overnight, we got full access. Like these gates that were locked all of a sudden just magically disappeared. Right. Like porta potties, bro, big fences. Like the city hooked us up because of that dude. And I was like, this is crazy how they could do this shit. Like one time it's like the gates are locked and we have to like risk like park rangers pulling up on us, and then like some white dude says like we can use the park, and all of a sudden like they're pulling up with porta potties and they're pulling up with like big fences to cage it off and shit. So that was another historic moment, man, because for indigenous people we're used to getting pushed to the side. We're like, no, you can't do that. Go do that shit over there. This time we're like, no, fuck that. We're doing it right here, whether we say we can or not, because we're not asking you for permission. We already asked Musqueam, Squamish, the Swillitude, the leaders, people that the land you're on, those are the people that we ask permission, not you. It's backwards, you know, and we let them know that, and I feel like they didn't really get a push like that before. Yeah, you know what I mean? And so we got access to the park, and we're gonna throw it there every year, man. Yeah, it's bigger and bigger, bro. We had like 4,000 people there. Like we were really short on volunteers and shit because it was such a short period of time. Are we going to be able to get secure this funding? It's really fucking big, expensive shit that was like with the stage and everything. So it wasn't until like a week and a half, it was like go time because we knew everything was set in stone. Other than that, I was like, I don't want to be promoting something everywhere and it not go down because of can't get this, can't get that, like funding wise. But once it was on posters everywhere, big posters, it was fucking on like TikTok, everything. Yeah. And we drew a lot of people, man. It was dope because people came through, they got fed. Jesus was the headliner to that event, and I was like right before him, so we did our circle song. The community, like people were talking about that for like weeks after. People like sending me like they saw their wristbands. Yeah. How like uplifting it was that. Such a fucking crazy, all these unmarked graves, everything that was happening, so colonialism, all that, and then to have something that was so like uplifting, empowering, is something that we needed. That was our goal. That was our mission. You know, Jesus. Shout out Natasha, Jane, Casey, everyone that was organizing this thing, brought it to life, made it crucial, at a crucial time for people when we needed to celebrate us, man. You know, where we came from, where we're at right now. And it was big, man. Like, it was super dope. Like, they were super short staffed on volunteers, so like in the beginning it was crazy because like Casey, bro, like she had 30 vendors she was managing, and she like pretty much her and like 2 other people set up all these tents. Because I don't know if you've seen the videos, but there's a line for vendors, like 30 tents. Yeah. And we didn't have enough volunteers, so they just set all those up, bro. And like, so I was running around, she just set chairs, this, that. There's like, at the end of the day, I noticed there's 200 chairs just sitting there because I didn't have anywhere to sit them on. You don't really know, like, it was a good time, but man, it was so mentally, and that's why I was like, okay, after that, we're just gonna chill on all the community work. So right now, we need to like recharge our batteries and really focus on our business and stuff coming into the winter times. Yeah. And we haven't set up no rallies or no like community, nothing right now, because we just gotta charge up our batteries. So, you know, you gotta take a step back and make sure you don't burn out because it's the real thing, man. If you burn out, you're not good to know that. So absolutely. Take care of yourself, drink a lot of water, eat your fruit and vegetables. Damn, there you go, drop it on them. I don't know. Can we call you Daquan still, or are we just Dakota Bear at this point? We gotta know, bro. Because people do, man. Like people from Saskatchewan, that's all they know me by. Yeah, bro. Like, yeah, that's all we know, bro. For real, no cap. Hey, speaking of Saskatchewan, bro, I think like you were a mainstay in the Saskatchewan rap game, bro. Like. And that's where I feel like, you know, right or wrong, whatever they were rapping about, that's where indigenous hip hop came from. Yeah, that's where, you know, like we had, you know, shout out to the brother, man. We love Joey Styles. Yeah, for, you know, he came and did our first ever show with us, bro, and he was super gracious. He talked about, I mean, you know, the infamous night when they ran G Unit out of town, and you know, we were talking, but me and River always like to have a conversation, man. Just like, you know, what were your influences for that time? And like, obviously, you know, Sacred Scripts and those guys. Like,
were you listening to, you know, like we were just jamming Big Sam in the car, bro, on the way here. That, you know, that type of rap. Who did you see in that avenue at the time? Like you're like, bro, this shit is so hard. We're like,
probably Jesus, man.
yeah,
Honestly,
Jesus was the man. Yeah.
I'd say because like Joey Styles is dope, but I gave Joey Styles a mixtape when I sold him like a 20 bag. I gave Jesus some kush and my mixtape. I was like 18 years old, bro. Check my shit out. Yeah. So all those guys, they paved the way, man, for like even like people like Snotty. Yeah. Like Red's Official, like, you know, they became just a wave of indigenous rappers that are just like kicking down doors. And Joey Styles was one of them, man. And I was always gravitating to Jesus because like his music is hit, man.
Yeah, it goes hard.
Yeah, it goes hard, bro. So like that, and then always jamming like the Helen Backwards Official, like super old school shit.
Winnipeg most,
bro. Winnipeg most.
Blazing Natives,
bro. We got a lot of love too. I got a lot of love for Winnipeg most too, because they, you know, right or wrong, they never switched up who they were, bro. You always knew that. I mean, they got, you know, the Canadian Music Awards or the Indigenous Music Awards, bro, and they're, you know, they're still in suits, but they get up there, bro, and they just start clowning on the mic like they were in front of the homies, you know what I mean? So it's cool to know that, like, I really feel like, you know, there's a lot of Indigenous artists in general, you know, that are popping up in different spaces and, you know, different kinds of music right now, but if you talk about Indigenous hip hop, like, it's grown from Joey Styles, it's grown from Jesus, it's grown from Winnipeg Most, it's grown from guys like yourself, and now it's out there. Like, there's new cats like
Res Coast.
Yeah, Res Coast, and the Vet Brave is another guy that I'm listening to. Like, all these guys, and I don't even know if they know these cats, but like that's where like everyone knows that Indigenous hip hop came from. Our spot. Yeah, for real. He's different, man. He's got like a Juice WRLD type feel to him.
And that's good because a lot of like young Indigenous kids, like my little brothers, like Tanny, loves Juice WRLD, you know, and I'm like getting them on to like, you know, people like that because that he looks like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's crazy, man, because like I was saying before, we're becoming more and more visible in these spaces, and it's not by coincidence. You know what I mean? And just like, at the red carpet, bro, I think it was at the Grammys when Northern Cree was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, when I seen that, I got chills, bro. Yeah. Like that was crazy to have like our songs, you know, in that space. Yeah. It's like, we're not even supposed to be here, man. We're not even supposed to be here by design. Here we are, man. You know, against all odds, we're doing it, and a lot of young people are doing it in a good way, man. And I just want to shout them out, bro. All the young people going to like university, into these colonial institutions, and relearning their languages and relearning their own laws, where they come from. Walking in two worlds, bro. That's not an easy thing to do. One of the hardest, man, but they're holding it down, and they're paving the way for other young people. And I really appreciate that. And I just want these young people to know, man, like, we come a long way. We've got a long way to go. We've come a long way, but things are turning around, man. Like, this generation and these times we're gonna look back in history at this point in time, because we're literally like shifting our trajectory as Indigenous people in the entire world, globally. Because Indigenous people, we make up 5% of the Earth's population. We protect 80% of the Earth's biodiversity. 5% we make up globally, yet we're protecting the whole fucking planet from dying. You know what I mean? And we're waking up to that shit. We're standing in our power. We're using clothing, music, fashion, everything, man. We're doing it in a proper way. And so I just wanted to show up all those young people doing it, man. We see you. And I just want to be a part of it, bro. I want to keep giving back, man. However I can, I want to be able to continue that. Make dope clothing, dope music.
Yeah, bro. No, for real. And like, yeah, that's facts too. And like, that's something that we have to realize too, is like, you know, AIM, the American Indian movement, like they were fighting a different battle. They walked so we can run. But like,
right there from the AIM movement, bro. Stand up,
there, for real. So then, but you look at it in the future, our children and our grandchildren, it's gonna look like we walk, so they can run. They're gonna be doing shit that we're dreaming of right now. The shit that we want, that's like certainly not attainable in this generation, they're going to be doing that shit. But we have to lead that charge. We have to be the youth. We have to be the people who are doing that for our people. We're the ones like literally waking up. Us breathing, us being here, this is an act of resistance. You know what I mean? We have a voice. We're speaking to people on all platforms. This is an act of resistance. And like people sometimes fail to realize that because there was 100 million First Nations people on Turtle Island before, and like 97% of them got wiped out. You know what I mean? Like we shouldn't be here, and we still are. And like the shit that we do is like one thing that I noticed with like Indigenous people is that everything we do is we have to think the 7 generations after us. Non-Indigenous people, Caucasian folk, they just got to think about how am I going to get rich and live comfortable? You know what I mean? Like how am I going to have a happy life? What am I going to do that's going to benefit me, myself? You know what I mean? Like they're not thinking of like 7 generations from then. They're like, what am I going to do so my grandchildren are like set up better than I'm set up? And it's not even like a money thing. It's literally like something that has to do with like internal racism, institutionalized racism. Like those are things that we are trying so hard to dismantle. Those are systems that go against us. But like everything that we're doing now, it's gonna pay off, and that's why I continue to do it. And that's why like I'm super happy to be here talking to you and Ray, is because like look at this shit where 3 sober young First Nations men, you know what I mean? Like
from the fucking gutter, bro.
Legit, man. Like,
from the trenches.
Yeah, bro. And like this shit is like it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is. And we can't downplay this shit. You know what I mean, bro? We cannot downplay this shit. Like this is actually a big deal, and like you should see it for what it is. Because like I know with your clothing, like obviously everything that you told us is like you're a hustler at heart, and like that shit that you're good at. You know what I mean? Like fucking throwing like mixtapes and cereal boxes and shit like that. You know what I mean?
You're getting your shit out there, bro.
Yeah, bro. You're getting your shit out there, bro. So like I'm just happy to be sitting here talking to you, and like I'm just taking it all in. That like by far this is like one of the best podcasts that we've had so far.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And yeah, it's just being in the building. You know what I mean? Like you can feel a fucking energy in here that you don't get from other places, or like we couldn't step into a fucking city hall, or we couldn't go step into those places that you're saying, and we could feel this energy. But in here, man, you can see the flags. You can see all your hard work. You know what I mean? You can see everything that you're about.
Logo.
Yeah, the logos, bro. Like this is some real shit, bro. So it's a blessing to be here for sure, man. We want to thank you for opening up your doors, bro. It's crazy. Yeah, you can just take a look around and feel that. So, good for you for making it happen for yourself, bro. And I know you got to thank the wife too, man. Like it sounds like she's in the trenches right there with you, bro. And she's always been your ride or die, man. That must feel good to it. You know, after tonight you're gonna go home. You can go home to her and the kids, and start another day, bro.
We used to talk about this shit, man. You know what I mean? It's like the hustle is it's nonstop with the kids and the family and everything, you know. But like we take a moment, you know, in like where we live and like where we're at and everything. We're like, we built this shit. We fucking built, like we pulled ourselves out of the fucking darkest corner that people could ever been in, man. Alcohol, drugs, whatever, bro. Like the hardest shit to break away from, man. Like we did it. We did it for our daughter, our family, future generations. We did it for our kids, man. We did it for ourselves, you know. Like at the end of the day, we got each other, and like it wasn't that long ago when we were just writing shit on napkins, bro. Like we started this literally a broken ass iPhone, like with no data, like couldn't even like, you know, send out like text messages and shit. But we were writing business plans on that because we were trying to get a little bit of funding, and we'd be going out to eat, and like she'd come up with a design. That's how we got our first logo design. So like we were out, and she was like drawing it on a napkin, you know. So it's like being there like from the very beginning. Yeah, it's really special, man, to be able to like look back on it. Yeah, and it's crazy, bro. We've been through so much shit, man. You heard? Since like we were like in high school, bro. Yeah, like straight up. And then we went separate ways for a little bit, and then, you know, we found each other again, and it's like, you know, when we started on our healing journey, bro, it's going to be about 4 years since we did that. Like, our life changed, man, like drastically, bro. Once we're just like for real, like, no more drugs, no more alcohol, like, we're done. Our lives completely changed, bro. Just step into ceremony, and that's why I'm like encouraging other young people to do that, because like Creator's waiting to bless you, man. You know what I mean? It's just like getting on that path, and it can be hard, and it's like it's a journey, but everybody here, man, it's like every single flower and bee and tree, everything is here for a purpose, man. You know, and that's how I see these young people, and that's why we focus so much on young people, because we never really had that, man. We never had that growing up in that mentorship. And we never had no one teaching us how to do a clothing line. We just went YouTube and Google, man. All day, literally YouTube and Google. Me and her be spending nights on nights, and everybody was out drinking and boozing and partying and stuff. And we would just be straight up researching on the Facebook ads and like whatever else, man. You know, so really started it with nothing, and I'm super blessed, man. We're super blessed to be here where we're at, and I'm thankful, man, like to have you guys have me a part of this, man. This podcast, and just to talk about this story, this journey. You know, it gives me the opportunity to reflect on it as well, man. Like back when and shit. Battlegrounds and all that, man. Like, it's dope to see how far, like, everything has kind of come, man. And really just the beginning, man. So,
absolutely. That's crazy to just kind of like sum it up like that, man. You must be hella proud of yourself, bro. Man, I want to get into something too, because we had this talk about it off camera too, man. And as much, you know, that you're doing and the good work you're doing, there's a flip side to that, you know, the people are, you know, maybe not in clothing, maybe not in music, but, you know, and especially indigenous people right now. We got some people that are, like I've always respected your brand and what you do, because it's not catered to white people. This is like anti-white people, like fuck white, you know what I mean? Like fuck colonialism, you know what I mean? Like breaking down those systems. And we, you know, we talked a little bit about like, you know, representation against, you know, reparations and action and demand. Like, is it hard to like to see those people, like some of those people lost in that type of shit? You know what I mean? Like looking for clout, looking for views, looking to just kind of blow themselves up and not take care of the community or the people that they're speaking for.
honestly, bro, like, white people have been colonized too, man. You know what I mean? Like, colonialism doesn't actually have color, bro. It's a mindset. It's like a disease, bro. Some white people actually know where they're from. They know their roots. They're like, I'm Ukrainian, and you know, my family's back there, got connections, etc., etc. The white people that you're referring to are the ones that are like so deeply affected with colonialism that they're like they're just blissfully ignorant because it benefits them so much. They don't want shit to change. You know what I mean? Because then that means that they don't have such a leg up on everything. They don't have that privilege that they have. So they just completely ignore it. There's a lot of white people that are in the trenches, you know what I mean, with us, like, help us do all sorts of shit. Like, and that's the thing, is that, like, for us to move forward, it's going to be everybody. Everybody. Just like the medicine wheel, like all four corners of the earth, all four directions, all of that. So it encompasses all of us. But indigenous people are leading the way, bro. We already know. We're relearning. We're picking things up quicker. We understand because we're connected to the land. And we already have our roots here. We already lived here for so long in harmony in the way that we had our life that it only took them under 500 years to literally fucking destroy the whole planet. Literally, bro, the whole planet fucking, and it's rich, old, white people at the fucking top. Jeff Bezos, fucking Bill Gates, it's all these people that benefited from their privilege from being ignorant, right? And so it's like, to me, it's a shift of consciousness, but also spirituality, where people are understanding that it's bigger than just like us as human beings, or being connected to a higher power. And for us, it's creative. For some people, it's God. For some people, it's Allah. However you look at it, we're connected to a higher power, right? And when people start to understand that, they start to understand that we have more in common than we do in differences. And so for us, when we're at the rallies, bro, all white people come out, man. They support, and we need those numbers because they're out there. You know, they're putting themselves on the front line. They will be like, I'll get my ass beat by the cops. Shit like that, instead of you guys, because you guys are native. Like, I've seen people like form like a white shield around.
Bro, that's the best shield in it.
Hell yeah, no, they're fronting, bro. It's like white shield, like whatever. It's like, you know what I mean? So it's like, are down with the cause, man, and are down to move forward. But there's a lot of people that act like it and use it as a way to, like you were saying, it's performative, it's an act, so it's like it's not real. Like they'll talk about this and that, and then they're the opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so with those types of people that are mixed up in like the movement, and I see this as like a collective, Black Lives Matter, like I don't know more, like solidarity with like Asian lives, the climate protesters, all of these groups of people that are fighting for some sort of justice are a collective of people that are shifting our conscious socially for the greater good, bro. And like whether people believe it or not, we're made up of frequencies and vibrations, with some you can't see and some you can see. And if any word that you put out creates a vibration, you could see it. You put a bunch of sand on a plate and play music, bro, you'll see the. If you say I hate you to some water and freeze it, it'll be all fucked up. If you say I love you, freeze it in water, it'll be nice and crystallized like snowflakes, bro. So it's like it goes to show that this small things like that have big impacts and waves. And it's powerful when you start to understand that. It's like what we do affects all of us, man. It's like we're not individual, and that's where the colonial mindset has like made us so sick, is as individualism, and they forgot about the collective. Us as a collective, as Indigenous people, not just Cree, Blackfoot, whatever it is, because historically, like, people are still, like, having feuds because this guy's Blackfoot, this guy's Cree. I've seen people fucking beat the shit out of each other because of it, bro. At parties. Also, it's just like, every time I'm fine, I'll send, bro, like, what the fuck? And that, again, is like that mindset of individualism. Yeah. And I think that we're really breaking down the barriers, starting to think of things as, like, a whole, as a perspective, and not just, like, Turtle Island, but things, like, globally, bro, because it's like there's Indigenous people all the way in like the Amazon jungle, bro, protecting forests that nobody's ever touched with their lives, man. You know, all the way across the fucking world, man, doing the same shit that we're doing here. Water is life, you know. One thing that colonialism did for us, which is shitty, but for us to be able to speak a language that we can actually like connect with other people on the side of the world, that's where they fucked up. Because now we can communicate with majority of the world. Now we can tell them what's going on, and we can understand each other through the internet. We can organize and do everything, and we don't even have to see each other's faces, bro. You know what I mean? So right now, because colonialism is multifaceted, there's so much different levels to it. It's political, bro. It's fucking economical. It's hitting us in all these different spots. Our solutions are also going to be the same. Yeah. So our solutions are those young kids staying away from alcohol and going into basketball. That's a solution, bro. Yeah. Young kids going into arts. People being drawn to music and using music as a message. People walking away from alcohol. People becoming politicians, as backwards as some may seem, becoming politicians and going into this Canadian state in the government where they make the laws, and then learning those laws and taking it back to our people and be like, hey, these are the laws that they're fucking making. So then we spring up and we can reciprocate and take action. You know what I mean? So it's like there's so much. There's not one answer on how to dismantle colonialism. It's like multifaceted, just like it is, and we're doing it and hitting it on like every level, bro. Politically, economically, you know, on the ground, wherever it is, man. And that makes them really scared, bro. It makes them really afraid. Like when they see young Indigenous people getting sober. Scares the shit out of them, bro. They don't want to see that. You know, times are changing, man.
Oh yeah, bro. I love to hear it. So what's the next step, bro? Like I don't even know how you can get bigger than this, man. Like I never seen a mogul like this, man. You're about to be the next Nipsey Hussle, bro. What's the next for decolonial clothing, bro? You got anything like big on the way? Like you thinking about collabs? Thinking about like new drops? I mean, you just dropped this, right?
Animal, yeah, hell yeah. Well, for us, honestly, man, like just staying true to the vision. We want to revitalize that Indigenous economy that was there, pre-existing in the modern world. You know, until the modern whatever the modern world looks like to us now, it's like we're doing clothing, we're doing music and everything, but we're using that money and we're funneling it back into our community to rebuild our community, right? And just like Nipsey Hussle, like all money in, like everything that he had made, he put right back in. Whether that's been like his businesses where he made that like multi-million-dollar strip in the middle of the hood where no one would have touched, bro, and created all of that job employment, like the same thing, you know. And I see that happening not with just us, but like with all sorts of young Indigenous people bringing what they have and bringing back to their community and just making their community a better place, man. Because the government ain't coming to fucking help us, man. They're not coming to save us. They ain't gonna do shit for us, like. And that's just the way that it is, man. But the thing is, like, we're already solving our problems. Not only our problems, we're solving the fucking world's problems. Right. Clean water. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs it to live. Indigenous people are actually not the only ones that are, like, suffering from the water that's contaminated. There's other towns and whatever else that are by these big-ass oil, big-ass resource extraction sites. The water's getting contaminated. There's a group of young people that are out here on the West Coast that are like helping solve that problem. They're turning that and they're figuring out how to. And also, BC is leading diesel-free energy sources in their communities. Yeah. So there's been communities in BC that are 100% off diesel and onto renewable energies like geothermal energy, like solar, whatever. Yeah. I mean, alternate resource, alternate ways of attaining energy. And that's just the future, bro. And like, we're solving those with the housing crisis. Yeah. We're finding out that time is fast. We can grow it a lot quicker and build way more houses with it. Shit like that. Yeah. Indigenous people already knew that. Like, that's why our houses stood up for literally hundreds of thousands of years, and their houses mold in 50 years. Oh, yeah. Literally, bro. Yeah. Like, you can't have houses fucking all getting all molded and whatever. Like, our infrastructure that we made is a lot stronger. So they're starting to realize it's already did and starting to use that in the way that they design their buildings. Even in Vancouver, the way that they're starting to structure everything and all that, it's like not for show, but a lot of it is because it's like a tsunami or fucking whatever hit. It's strong. Yeah. So we're solving those problems already, man, and it's figuring out how do we support those young people that are doing it, that have like, lack of resources, have connections with fucking internet, things like that. Like, how can we use that? And that's how, Casey and I, we have these conversations of how can we continue to use what we're building to help put that back into our community so we can start rebuilding our communities. And it's not just going to be like one or two or three people. It's going to be all of us. It's a collective, and it's already happening all across Turtle Island, bro. It's about supporting and pulling one another up. And sharing resources, because there's shit that people know that I have no clue about. There's things that I know that people have no clue about. So imagine if we're able to connect those dots, man. And one guy that's really inspiring, his name is Nick Tilson. You guys ever hear of him? He's out in the States. He got arrested and he was like protecting the Dakota black heroes and like Nick Tilson. Man, this guy and his crew had built a whole community that was self-sufficient with water and energy. And basically, how the palaces are set up with the harbor in the middle and everything is kind of like a spiral? Yeah. They designed the shit the same way. It was easy for him to get the water filtration and everything. They grew the garden. Their community was 100% like self-sufficient. They didn't need anyone or anything. It was good. And young people were the ones that designed it. Young people were the ones that took the lead on that project and made it happen into a reality from blueprint to an actual fucking thing. Yeah. So it's like, it's already happening, man. You know what I mean? So we want to be a part of that, man. We want to be able to support those initiatives. We want to start a foundation where we can put the money from here into there, then give it back to the community. We want to be able to continue to mentor young Indigenous people that want to go into business. And for us, like, we call it warrior entrepreneurship because it's more than just entrepreneurship or like capitalism. If you're doing that, then you're like walking the wrong way. Yeah. You're thinking about being like an anti-colonial actor and like battling colonial mindsets wherever you go. Right. Being an agent of self-determination, you get to choose your own destiny like we always did. Where do we want to go and how are we going to get there? We can choose. That's how we're going to do it. And then revitalizing the Indigenous economy, learning what was there before us. What did our ancestors do? What were their mediums of exchange? What were the infrastructure that they built? How did they move themselves and continue to do that for hundreds of thousands of years? And bring it into this world, in this modern world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Fucking blow my mind, bro. To be honest with you, shit. I'm like, damn, bro. I'm hanging on your every word, bro. I love that.
Going off because I'm like real passionate about it.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah, bro. And that's good to have the passion about it because, man, motherfuckers like you are gonna change the world. You know what I mean? Like, and people have seen that. Like I said with Nipsey Hussle, you talk about the guy that just fucking built his own community, or you know what I mean? Like all those things are just like. It's so awesome to hear that from somebody that, is not, traditionally what you know, these colonial systems would think is a successful person. You know what I mean? But you're going to be just as successful, if not more successful, and you're going to put it into the right places. So that's respect, bro. I can't say enough about that, bro. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. We gotta ask though, bro. You didn't even answer you didn't really answer. You gotta give me your top 3 native rappers of all time. 1 to 3, bro.
Okay. Now you're gonna have to the battle rap one.
No, hell no. I
don't remember who was all battling back then.
No, bro. Talk about your top 3.
Top 3? Shit, man. I would say I can't put nothing in order, bro. Like,
Okay. No order. Just name the 3. Hey, no order here. And if you got excluded, just know we still love you because you paved the way. But give us your top 3, bro.
Well, obviously, like Jesus is gonna be in the top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
I gotta shout out Snotty, man. I gotta say they gotta be in the top 3, bro. Because well, you already know, man. Like the rappers before them had opened those doors and they fucking ran with it, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, breaking into all those spaces, and even the music that they're forming now is even different. It's sounding different. It's in different audiences, bro. You know what I mean?
Me.
That one, baby.
2014 year to that one.
Who's the third, bro? Yeah, put it there. Just for fun. West Coast? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, bro. He's gonna blow for sure, man.
I think so, man. No disrespect to all the other rappers,
Yeah,
man, but I think that like he definitely is reaching that audience that's like into that like the sound is different. It's like really sing-songy, almost like punk rock. You know what I mean? And what we need is just other young indigenous people to see themselves in those positions, bro. That's what we need. It's gonna save lives, man. Because like back in the day, how many young kids had seen themselves if they were on the res anywhere, bro? Anywhere. It's like you didn't even exist, man. Didn't even fucking exist, and that's going to do something to somebody's self-esteem and everything. It's like you're invisible wherever you go. Like growing up in the prairies, you know how racist it is, bro. Drive down, everywhere you go, it's like you're the black sheep, man. And that's ground zero for again colonialism, man. Like the farmers, the land, cold and bushy, the fact that farmers feel so entitled to something that was literally given to them for free. 160 acres for free. That's how they got here. They got flyers in Europe, and then the flyers like 163 acres with cattle and cows and plows and sickles and government protected. They're like, shit, man, we're going to Canada, baby. And that's how they ended up here, bro. Like in the prairies. So it's like, and we got shit. So it's like, you know. And that's what like the heart of like a lot of shit, like you were saying, like hip hop, like Joey Styles, even like Jesus, like the Tree Six, all in like in the prairies area. Some of the hardest struggles, man, back there, and some of the most successful people, bro. You know, one of my favorite books is Tamara Starlink, bro. You know, and she suffered with children, and she wrote a whole book on genocide, man. And she wrote a whole book. She wants to take Canada down, bro. She's like straight past this shit, going all the way fucking to the United Nations. Like she's got it on lock in her book. And it's like, this is how they did it. It's how they continue to do it, you know. And it's crazy, man. There's a lot of it. I don't know more, bro. So my auntie Sylvia McAdam, man. You know, I don't know more fucking launched from there. It's just like, you know, there's a different vibe in the prairies, man. Just like anywhere else. But
and that's just because, man, like, fuck, we've been growing up on that, bro. It's just so much fucking racism that be there that you at some point we gotta be like, fuck, this is enough, bro. Like, I ain't trying to deal with this shit no more. You know what I mean? Like, and it comes from a place of pride, honestly, man. Putting pride back in ourselves and saying it, bro, which is really dope. What about you, bro? Who's your top 3? Give us your top 3 real fast.
Top 3?
Yeah.
Blazing Natives, bro. I don't know, they're just like, they're Cracktown legends.
Bro.
Like Big Sav and all of them, bro. It's like, I still bump their shit on SoundCloud. Like, every other week. Joey Styles, without a doubt, bro. Joey Styles. Like, like, Came a Long Way, like Walk On, all that shit, you know, like Gorgeous Gangster when he like started turning up his sound a little bit,
Cool
and like
Running,
remember like
Cool Running,
Cool Running is like a banger. I play that shit to this day.
You remember the shirt that he came out, the yellow shirt with and then it said like it had the whole bars on it. I remember this shirt looked hella cheap, but it was dope. It said better on Friday, left on Saturday, and then had it on the back too, bro.
Yeah, no, and like you remember seeing Sugarcane on Punch Much?
Yeah, bro, that
was the first time I ever saw like anything of that magnitude. Just like straight up like a fucking an Indian rapper on Punch Much. Everybody was voting that shit, and that's back when you could text on TV. You said text. Everybody would be like sending love from Saskatoon and shit like that, bro. That was golden, bro. So them, Blazing Native, Joey, top 3. Bro, I'm drawing a blank right now. Can't say Twiz.
We ain't saying Twiz. Twiz, if you're listening to this, bro, you ain't in the top 10, 20, man. But we love your company, though.
Yeah.
We love you. Shit, bro. For me, it's two of the same for you, bro. It's Joey Styles, me. It's got to be Greases, too.
Oh, shit. What the hell is that? Who are they again? The group that Ileana was with.
Oh, Shines to Salute?
No. They're all from Winnipeg. There's a bunch of them.
Oh,
Yeah. They were singing like the song like Indian Girl and.
Oh.
Shit, I know what you're talking about, but I can't think.
Yeah, and they had like little young homie with them, and there's Ileana.
Oh, yeah.
No, they went hard. They had bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for, I guess,
Who's your third, bro?
I'll go Winnipeg most. Man,
Bro,
do you remember the Much Music dances?
Yeah, bro.
Like being 14-year-olds, grinding to bang bang. Like,
Yeah, I'll take it a step further, man. R.I.P. to the legend, bro. He just, like, no disrespect to anybody else in Winnipeg Post, because they all brought their own distinct style, and they all sounded dope. But I really thought that Brooklyn, in another lifetime, could have been that. Native Riders. Is that what they're called? Oh, is that who you shouting out? Native Riders are up there too, bro. But yeah, I gotta say, Brooklyn just man, and you could hear his pain. You know what I mean? Like you could hear his entire life in every song that he wrote, man. So R.I.P. to the homie Brooklyn, man. That was one of the goats. Bro's about to pull it up here.
I'm trying to find that shit.
Hell yeah.
OBT, bro.
OBT, yeah.
Yeah, OBT. Yeah, that shit.
Hell yeah, bro. Well, man, I just want to say first off, like, thank you so much for letting us in your space tonight, man. This place is like it feels decolonized, bro. It feels you can feel the strength of the ancestors in here, man. I ain't even joking. And then we're sitting down and we're being able to chop it up and you share your story and also just like the vision that you have and like I said, man, the only comparison I can put it to is what the community must have felt about MC Hustle. You know what I mean? And that's where I see your avenue going. You know, and you're gonna take it to places that we could never imagine, and you're gonna open those doors for people like us and people like the next generation, man. And that's something that gets lost on a lot of people. Like you said earlier, man, like people they try to downplay this or make it not a big deal, bro. But this like. Right here in this moment, bro, I feel like I accomplished something too, bro, because of what you've accomplished. You know what I mean? And to open the door for us, man. So I just gotta say much love, bro, and keep doing what you're doing, and know that no matter what, like you're doing the right thing, and you got the right people behind you. You know, you can tell that your wife, your assistant downstairs, everyone around you is good people, and that's important to do, to have those people there. So I just want to shout all of them out real quick too, and. Just once again, man, just say thank you for tonight, man, and thank you for coming on and sharing your story, bro. Like,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, yeah, bro.
No, man, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Podcast for minutes, so it's like, who the fuck did that happen?
Bro, we tried to. Remember we tagged you in the first season? They were like, who's our guest, bro? Everyone, Dakota Bear, and then we tagged you, and then literally the miscommunication just got dropped because we were tagging you, and then I think the first couple times you were like, yeah, let's do it, and then we tagged you once more, and then we didn't reply, and you didn't reply, and we were just like, we'll save it. So we had to, but look, we saved it for the exact right moment, bro. It was the moment here, bro. Usually how we like to cap this off, bro, is like if you got a message for anybody tuning in or anything you want to say, bro, just let them know and give them some love, bro, some words of encouragement, whatever you think, bro.
Oh, well, thanks for having me on. Honestly, man, it's been a real pleasure just kind of like going back and thinking about shit I haven't thought about in a really long time, man. And everybody tuning in, showing support to the young homies, you know. They're creating a platform using podcasting, which is a piece of media where they can get stories. And what we're doing here is really storytelling now. We're taking it back, you know, to have these questions that they're asking me and for us to be able to go back and forth and learn a little bit more of like who we are and where we come from. It just builds that connection, you know, even further for us as being young Indigenous people. And I just wanted to say that I have so much respect for all the young Indigenous people out there following their dreams, sober, you know, breaking cycles, walking in two worlds, carrying their ancestors, learning the prayers, smudging, you know, just really walking in a good way. And that's something that we need more of. And I see it more and more every day. I see more of my friends getting sober. I just want to say I'm proud of you. I just want to say that, you know, we've come a long way. And this past 500 years, it's just a small clip in our history. Honestly, it's just a small clip. And there's a lot of brighter things ahead. We're pushing forward. We're becoming that change. And we're making sure of it. And so I just want to be somebody to help bring up other young Indigenous youth and and rest in peace to everyone that we lost along the way. You know, it's been tough for a lot of us, you know, and I just want to take a moment to say that. And hit me up anytime. Any young Indigenous people want to get into business, you know, whatever it is, I'm pretty accessible. Hit me on Instagram. We're going to be doing some mentorships out of Decolonial, and I just want to be a part of it. I want to continue to make dope clothing, dope music, and walk in a good way. Reach people, help people, give back, reciprocity. Thanks for tuning in. Drink your water, eat your veggies. Decolonial. That's why, baby.
Yeah, for real. Shout out Uncle Dak One, man. You went from nephew to uncle with that speech, bro. But like I said, like he just said, man, thank you guys for everyone that tuned in. Watch tonight, man. Give this a like and a share after you're done, man, so we can get this out there. This is a really special interview. So I don't know. We ain't got plans for next week yet. What you got?
No, I ain't got plans for next week, but I mean, like, just to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Bro, I just want to say thank you, and like, honestly, like, I definitely want to chop it up again, but like, you say such good words like about your fiance, bro. So like, next time you got to get her in here with us, and we'll do it at the same location or something like that.
Let's do it, bro. We gotta convince her.
Without a doubt, bro, because like she sounds like she has a good head on her shoulders and everything like that, and like, yeah, bro, like I know, like I know how it feels having a strong woman supporting you. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that, Ray feels that, you feel that, and like they need to get shown love too. You know what I mean? From like all this too. So like,
sit all three of them down.
We'll get out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro. So for sure, next time you're invited. I'm saying it live right now that like you and your fiance are invited to come check it out again. And next time we're in Vancouver, we'll chop it up for sure.
Yeah, we're coming to the circles, bro. We're coming to circles round 2, bro. We'll set up the 22, bro. Yeah, we'll set up the podcast there.
Do it, yay.
Hey. All right, so yeah, much love to everybody. Take care of each other. Make sure you
sanitize.
Yeah, wear your mask and
wash your ass.
Hi, much love, everybody. Hi. Take care of each other. Peace.